occasion that we lift the flag for black lives. And all of my life, or as my grandmother would say, all of my born days, I've lived for the time when black lives really do matter. We all come from various walks of life, and we all have various experiences. The Black Lives Matter is a movement of late designed for inclusion, but specifically designed to give local authority and power to those who've been disenfranchised. I don't know about you, but I've driven on the streets of Brunswick County for some 25 years, and I have been profiled simply by saying that I had a light out of my car and my vehicle had just come from the inspection station. But there was an attempt to try to manipulate me into some unjust cause. And so I'm glad that you're here today, and I simply say that this symbol of freedom and that we include people, it's about time. I don't curse, so you won't hear me using profane words, but my grandfather used to have a word that he would say to us. He'd say, "Children, it's time for the chickens to come home to roost." And what he simply said to me didn't make no difference where those chickens went that morning. When it was feeding time in the afternoon, they would come back home. And so I say to our Democratic Party here in Brunswick County, let's continue to build. And long before the 2012-2014 hashtag Black Lives Matter, there was a movement that had many leaders and had many efforts to ensure that black lives were included in the fabric of American society. I need not tell you the works of Dr. Martin Luther King when he would stand and tell the people that we're going to cripple your economics in Montgomery, Alabama. I need not tell you that in this country that we all so love, there was a time when black folk were run out of their businesses, run out of their homes, simply for engaging and raising their voice for a just cause. 23 miles north of where we are today, Wilmington, North Carolina, stands 3 pillars of incidents. We won't even go back to the Civil War, but we'll look at how a group of citizens were overthrown and ran out of their town. We'll look later when a group of 10 who were protesting for rights were wrongly incarcerated. My brothers and sisters, all is not well in America. And to this party that I so love, and to this party that is so engaged in making sure that black lives matter, let's fight. Let's fight. I'm one of those, I believe in organized, but every now and then you need a ray that'll get in there and fight and stir things up. It's good to organize, but we need to fight. Because the opponents are not going to be fair. They're not going to be just. And if you need indication, just look up in Raleigh at the legislation that they proposed and some that they have passed. We would thought we'd have had a budget by July 1. I remember when the Democrats were running the legislature so many years ago, there was complaint if the budget didn't get passed by June 30th. As I look today, we're on the 14th day of July. Where is it? The Black Lives Matter flag has garnered so much protest, so much anger. And I wonder, and I have some of my friends, and I'm a redneck, I hunt and fish, so that's what I'm talking about, redneck. But some of my good redneck friends always talk to me, Ray, you're always talking about race. What else is there to talk about?
That's right, Ray.
But if you have the power, you don't have to have that conversation.
That's right.
If you don't have a 23-year-old black kid who drives down the street in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and is profiled simply because he's black, you can't understand. You can't begin to understand. And so when I say to them that, brothers and sisters, we're in a different time than we were 50 years ago. Power concedes nothing. And we're living on the crust that we can have KKK, we can have Blue Lives Matter, we can have Soldiers Matter, we can have all kind of matters, and now we have the All Lives Matter. But when we say Black Lives Matter, it causes confusion with people. But I'm one of those people who I don't mind engaging and allowing people to see that they may be offended for the wrong reason. The Black Lives Matter movement was simply a movement to make sure that we included everybody. And I don't know about you, but let me just share this with you. I'm as patriotic in this country as I can. The other day while at a baseball game, state baseball game, I was asked, why was I not standing to salute the flag? And I simply said these words, and it offended some people. I said, until all people are included, until all people are included, I will not participate. People can get mad if they want to, but listen to me. Democracy doesn't dictate that I stand for a flag or that I go and salute you or her or him. But democracy demands that I have a right to my freedoms of expression. And we're living in a society now where we want to close the doors on people who do not look like us, who do not think like us, who do not act like us, and God knows who do not vote like us. And them folk up the street, my grandmother said, them folk up the street, they're not going to be fair about nothing that they encounter. Look at what's going on in our news. When I see that Black Lives Matter stirs controversy, I always ask the question, when did Black lives start to matter? Was it during the civil rights? When did Black lives start to matter? Imagine the majority of a powerful community coming to your home, to your business, saying you have 24 hours to get out of town. Don't we're going to burn down your home, your business, and we're going to kill your family. Imagine being an 18-year-old high school student preparing to graduate and go off to the university, only to walk into the local store, and they're in the midst with some of the leaders in a Klan meeting. Imagine, when did Black lives start to matter? I have a strong faith that's rooted in the gospel book. And in the 25th chapter of the Gospel of St. Matthew, the master pens a question. He said, how will you treat the least of these? How will you treat the least of these? And to our Brunswick County Democratic Party and our democratic structure, the question is, how will we fight for the least of these? For those who have no voice, who we lend our voice. For those who have no participation, we open the door that they may participate. I had a conversation with some in our precinct. I'm not at least disturbed by the new voting rights bill that North Carolina passed with all those restrictions. You know why I'm not? Because once we organize and show people that we're going to get our people to the poll come hell or high water, it really won't matter what they do as obstacles in front of us. My grandmother told the story. My grandmother told the story of the trials of trying to register to vote in Stamps, Arkansas. We don't have those issues. I don't understand why we don't have 100% voter participation in our democracy. I really don't understand, man. But that's our job, to work. In my faith, when Jesus, the master, pens the question, he asked this, do you feed the hungry? Do you give water to the thirsty? Do you visit the sick? Do you visit those who are in prison? Do you give clothes to those who are naked? Do you shelter those who are homeless? I'm so glad that the Brunswick County Democratic Party has saw fit to make sure that Black lives are included in our society. Fellow Democrats, I don't know how long this fight will last. I really don't. But I do know we're engaged in a war. And if you look at radio, you listen to radio, and you look at TV every day, you know the other side is relentless. Sure. Whatever the lie is, they keep repeating the lie. And they spread and they share the lie. The guy was telling me the other day that Biden is the reason why diesel fuel is so high. And I asked him, I said, did Fox News tell you how much the petroleum company profits were? They're probably not going to tell you that. But Biden has very little to do with the fuel prices in America. Corporate greed. So fellow Democrats, my words to you as I leave you here today is we must fight. We must look out for the least of these. We must give voice to those who are voiceless. I've taught American government on the college campus. I've been involved in campaigns from the Soil and Water Commission to my own personal campaigns, to the governor, to the president. I've watched campaigns from close up and I've watched them from afar. But the one thing that I've discovered about winners of political campaigns is they fight to empower others. They never fight to make themselves powerful. So this Brunswick County Democratic Party is an example of how we must fight. We must raise the bar. We must let folk know that we are going to fight for some underdogs. People like underdogs, but they follow top dogs. Fight for some underdogs. Please fight for some underdogs. Democrats must fight even when the odds are stacked against us and the wind is facing us. We must fight, because when we fight, we give hope. And when we give hope, we give opportunities. And when we give opportunities, people will seize them. So Brunswick County Democrats, in the raising of this Black Lives Matter flag, you are saying to every black person in Brunswick County and America that we value you, you are important to us, and we want you to be a part of our fabric to which you are. So I wish you all good things without end and blessings without number. And my final note to you, Madam Chair, and to this Brunswick County Democratic Party, is fight. Fight the good fight. Fight the fight that nobody sees you fighting. Fight the fight that will cause people to stop and say, you know, maybe I am doing this wrong. Maybe there is a better way. I don't see the people down the street as my enemies. They're my opponents. They have an opposing view. That's where the word opponent, opposition, comes from. They're not our enemies. They just happen to be wrong on something. My wife and I, she loves chocolate ice cream, and I love vanilla. We still love each other. We're not opponents. We're not enemies. But I'm simply saying, let's see the human value in every person. Regardless of what the North Carolina legislature throws our way, regardless of what Congress tries to throw our way, we're going to fight. My last note to you, and this is the conversation that I have with a lot of my black friends. Ray, why in the heck should we keep electing Democrats? They had the White House, they had the Congress, and they still didn't get the Civil Rights Act, the voting rights aspect package. What are we getting out of it? This is how I answer them. This is not how you need to answer them. This is how I answer them. Sometimes voting is character, because we're choosing. And some of them same folk that didn't vote for Hillary Clinton and gave us that guy, they wish they'd have voted for Hillary Clinton. I say, when you fail to exercise your vote, you're giving people power. And brothers and sisters, too many people have died for us to yield our power to folk who don't care. So God bless you, Brunswick County Democratic Party. Let's keep up the fight. There are people who are fighting in the trenches, and some of you know some of them right here in this building. They don't sleep, I don't think, because they're always sending out an email. They're always organizing. They're always doing something, but they're doing it because they see a greater good. Let's engage. Let's be a part of this fight. I want to be a part of a fight, not necessarily to win, but a fight to let people know there is an opposing view. Thank you. God bless you all.